Cristina Hernandez. Today is Monday. It's 11 o'clock. And with me today is Samantha Hass. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
And Samantha is a registered dietitian, and she works with F Factor, which is a diet started by Tanya Zuckerbot. If you haven't heard about it, that's why we're here to introduce it to you. I have followed it on social media some, and it seems like a very logical, I'm not going to, but I want to really start it. And I haven't gotten a chance, as I've been telling you, to just, because of the holidays, to dive into this. And I'm dying to, because it just seems like something manageable that I can incorporate into my life.
Totally. And after today, hopefully you will.
Yes. So tell me about yourself, where you're from, where did you study, what is your story?
Yeah, so I'm from Miami actually originally.
Okay.
My parents were from here too. My grandma's from here too, so we're a big Miami family, Miami Beach actually.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of a drive to get here, but and I grew up here, was always into health and wellness. Me and my dad are big foodies, and like any chance to talk about food, we will. My sister jokes that we finish one meal and then we're talking about the next meal, what we're going to eat. But not just any food, healthy food. You know, we like to eat to nourish ourselves, to feel good, to be able to. My dad's a big golfer. I like to play tennis. I like to run. I like to just bike and go out for walks. So I always want to eat to fuel myself, you know. And when I was applying to college and I was looking at schools that had majors I was interested in, which not every school has nutrition as a major. And I was looking at NYU and nutrition was a major. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to be when I was in high school. But when I saw that nutrition was a major, and I remember looking at my mom and being like, what's that? Can that be my major? Like, can that be what
I'm into this. Can I do it? Yeah.
And she's like, for sure. And my dad used to always tell us, like, do what you love. That's what you'll be good at. If you love it, you'll be good at it. So I applied to NYU specifically for their nutrition program, which ended up being an amazing nutrition program. And I was so happy about it because that's when I figured out what a registered dietitian was. I didn't even know. I thought, you know, nutrition, I'll figure out what I'll do with it. But I never actually knew there was this whole career that you end up going to this dietetic internship I was telling you about earlier, which is basically medical school or medical residency for a dietitian. You apply to work at a hospital or intern at a hospital. And I did one at New York Presbyterian. You're there for a year and you're working with all different clinical conditions and cardiology, diabetics, renal, transplants, and you're really diving into nutrition, not just for weight loss or for weight gain or for, you know, just health, but really helping people who have these chronic conditions. So that's, you know, I did that. And then I did that in New York, obviously. I went to NYU, did the dietetic internship at New York Presbyterian, and then did a fellowship at New York Presbyterian too, which was specializing in pediatrics and obstetrics, which was really, really cool when I was doing it, but I wasn't every day actually doing that. There was a few times a week where I got to work with pediatrics or kids, we'll call them kids, who came from lower income families that were obese. So I was working with like the whole family and figuring out how we can help. I
heard that's on the rise for kids.
Sure. And it was like really, I loved doing that, but I was doing that once a week. And then another day of the week, I was working with kids who had seizures and working with another dietitian, and we would create these ketogenic diets for them. So I'm sure you heard of keto diet for weight loss. Don't recommend it, but for children with seizures, there's real research that shows it can help. And I love that, you know. And then a lot of the other time I was working with helping people figure out if their insurance is covered. So that wasn't exactly what I wanted to do. I was already an RD at that point, a registered dietitian. And I went out to lunch and I went out to dinner with two friends, and both of them had mentioned that F Factor is hiring. And I was following F Factor on social media, but I wasn't following them that closely. I wasn't really big into Instagram, which is funny now because I use Instagram a lot. And it's like I was not, you know, using it. And so I looked into them and I ended up, you know, applying and getting an interview with Tanya and totally fell in love with her and fell in love with the program. And again, I went into it actually a little bit hesitantly because I was nervous that I didn't want to pigeonhole myself into weight loss. I didn't think it was going to be as fulfilling as working with a lower income family who has, obese children, or working with special needs kids who need G tubes to feed them. My sister actually has a special needs daughter. And when I was in school, she had to be in a feeding tube from birth until like 5 years old.
Wow.
And instead of giving her Pediasure or Ensure in her feeding tube, because that's what a lot of people do, we were creating like these blenderized tube feeding diets, and I was helping her kind of think about the nutrition and what to give her to fuel her. And I was so into that. And I was like, that's what I want to do. So I was nervous about F Factor.
Yeah.
But then after getting into it and really helping my clients and changing my clients' lives, people who, were 40, 50 years old, dieting their whole lives and had 50, 60 pounds to lose and tried and couldn't do it, and then found F Factor, and I was like, and this was easy for them, and they were so thankful. I was like, okay, this is it. I love it. This is amazing. And for all the people or all the times that I thought that weight loss was so, what's the word I'm thinking of? Just kind of vain or just easy. Also easy. I thought it was like, this is easy. Let me do the harder stuff. It's not easy. It's hard work. But with F Factor, I really find it makes it easier. It makes it enjoyable. It brings like my passion for being that foodie that I am to life, and I get to share that with people. And I think a lot of people who have been dieting their whole lives and trying to lose weight have a really bad relationship with food. They hate it. They love it, but they hate it because in their minds, it's making them gain weight. But really what it could be is something that helps you lose weight, give you energy, fuel you, and you could have such a good relationship with it. And you can still be healthy and fit.
Yeah. What is F Factor for everyone that's wondering and watching?
Yeah.
What is it?
So F Factor, we have a book, but it's a brand, it's a program, it's a diet, but we like to say it's a lifestyle. And the F in F Factor stands for fiber. So it's all about fiber. So it's a weight loss program, but there's stages. So there's step 1, there's step 2, there's maintenance. So if you're not trying to lose weight, you can still follow F Factor. You just wouldn't necessarily do step 1. You're trying to lose weight, you would start in step 1. And it's a fiber and protein diet. So high fiber, high protein, lower fat, not fat free. We're not into that. And the 4 disruptive principles, we're a disruptive brand, we're a liberating brand, is you can eat carbohydrates, because a lot of people think when you're on a diet, you can't eat carbohydrates. Well, you can and you should, because that's where you're going to find the fiber actually. Fiber is the indigestible portion of a carbohydrate. So you definitely want to be eating carbs to lose weight. You can dine out, which is a little bit of a tricky time to be talking about dining out, but dining out or ordering in. You can drink alcohol and you can work out less. So these are disruptive principles because when you think about them, you think that's not what dieting is about. If I'm on a diet, I can't dine out, can't eat carbs, I have to work out all the time, and I can't drink alcohol. And that's what makes diets no fun. You know?
And that is exactly part of, listen, I have a million issues, but sometimes those have been some of the ones that have get in the way.
Yeah.
Like I want to be able to have my glass of wine this weekend.
Yeah, for sure.
There's always all this talk for some other friends or other diets that want to get you into ketosis, because that's where you're going to burn more fat faster. And it's just like, to me, it stresses me out because I'm like, oh my God, now I have to be so strict for these.
Right. And you don't have to be. And there's no strict. Listen, there's always discipline, right? Especially when you're trying to achieve anything in life. There's going to be discipline, but there's an easier way to do it. And that's with F Factor. Yeah. No doubt.
These are the principles, kind of like when I have been following Tanya and the F Factor, that would pique my interest while I was following it along. I'm like, these things where I'm like, this seems doable.
Yeah.
Sometimes things resonate with you and you connect with it. And that's kind of like been my connection to it. I reached out to her finally. I'm like, do you have somebody here in Miami? I would love to talk to somebody and bring them on this show. And
here I am.
Here you are.
Happens to be in Miami.
So that's good. How is F Factor? I guess we already kind of talked about this though, but let's go into it a little bit more. How is F Factor different from other diets?
Right. So that's the whole 4 disruptive principles, is that it doesn't feel like you're on a diet. It feels fun. It feels liberating. It feels like you can have a social life. And that's really a priority for us. Tanya's, from New York, and we're a New York City based company. So we're, even ourselves, are used to working hard, going out, for drinks after work or having dinner with friends, and on the weekends having a social life, and during the week too, hopefully. But we're used to that,
Yeah.
So for us to be preaching like, okay, we want you to lose weight, but you're going to have to cook all your meals at home and you're not going to be able to go out for a drink.
Yeah.
It's just not realistic. So we create weight loss in a very realistic setting. And I think that's what resonates with a lot of people, is they don't have to give things up.
Yeah.
And also what we believe is, if you're going to lose weight, but you're cutting out alcohol and you're working out 7 times a week and you're not eating any carbs, then what happens when you bring those things back in? And I think that that's a lot of people's experiences with diets, is they lost the weight, but they couldn't keep it off because they wanted to have a drink of alcohol. That's insane, right? So if you create weight loss in a realistic setting, and everything that you commit to on F Factor is something that you will continue doing for the rest of your life, then it's not a problem.
Right.
And that's not to say, listen, day 1 on F Factor, I don't want you eating chocolate cake or like a slice of pizza, but 3 weeks, 4 weeks into it, you have a slice of pizza, you have a couple bites of dessert, you have a plate of pasta, but you balance it out with mostly these high fiber, high protein, lean, clean meals. You're good. And besides that, having all this fiber is filling you up and keeping you feeling full, that you don't go into meals ever feeling weak, tired, and starving, that you won't have willpower. And that willpower is important. So even if you think you have willpower, if you're hungry, if you're tired, if you're moody, if you're stressed, it doesn't last too long, right? So I think that's also what separates us from these other diets, is we're giving you from day 1 this ability to actually stick to the plan, right? Like from the beginning, you feel, okay, this is doable. And then as you lose the weight, that's also what reinvigorates your willpower, your desire to do this, because you're seeing the results.
Why should someone work with you?
Why should someone work with me? Great question. I mean, I've been working at F Factor for 3.5 years. So if you're looking for specifically doing the F Factor diet and working with one of the dietitians, I mean, we all have different personalities, but pretty likable.
I would agree with this.
No, I mean, maybe I'm not kidding.
You are. It's like we shouldn't be shy about that. You know you're a personable person.
Yeah.
So that,
and
that
I think
counts
that
for a
it's
lot.
a scary thing to start a program like this on your own. I think it can feel overwhelming, even though it shouldn't, and you do have the book to guide you. But if you're looking for that extra help and you want to work with a dietitian, I've been working for F Factor for 3.5 years. I know this like the back of my hand. I practice this. I live this. And I am someone who has a big sweet tooth, loves food. My husband really makes fun of me about this a lot, but I love food, and I still manage to be able to eat this way and be happy about it. So it can't be that bad. If I'm loving it, I'm sure you're going to love it too. And listen, I struggled with, a little bit of extra weight when I was in high school that I could not figure out how to get off. I have a thyroid condition called Hashimoto's.
Me too.
Oh yeah. Did we speak about it?
I don't know.
I don't know, but
maybe we did.
So I was always someone, I come from good genes. I'm not going to lie about that. My family, for the most part, are very fit, but I'm 5 feet. And when I was in high school, I was like one of those people who could eat whatever I want. And then suddenly I couldn't, and the weight started piling on, and I couldn't figure out what it was. It took me up, and I started probably in 9th grade. It took me until 12th grade to get a diagnosis. But before I got that diagnosis, I was just working out like crazy, trying to lose the weight, eating lots of chicken and sweet potatoes and quinoa, but not being careful about portion sizes, which is important. And slowly on my own, I started realizing that you need to follow this high fiber, high protein type of lifestyle to make sure you're not eating too much portions of even the healthy foods. And I was able to start managing my weight, and then I do have to take Synthroid. So
Me too.
That definitely helps get it back into, gear, but you still have to eat the healthy weight, right? Like having Synthroid is not the magical pill that's going to help you lose weight. You have to balance that with a healthy diet, and eating a high fiber diet is anti-inflammatory, which is very good for an autoimmune condition like Hashimoto's. Yeah.
How has COVID affected your job?
So, in March, when it all hit, my husband and I was 3 months pregnant. We moved down to Miami because that's where I'm from. And we moved in with my parents thinking we were going to be here just for 3 weeks. But we were working from home, both of us, and we never got that opportunity to just come to Miami.
Crazy.
So we're like, this is a great opportunity, and we don't want to be stuck in our 1-bedroom New York apartment. So we came down, and I haven't left. Clearly, I'm still here. So
there's a few. I think you're not alone. I think there's quite a few.
There's so many New Yorkers who moved here, but anyway, so I've been working from home this whole time, which has been an adjustment because I'm used to working in this beautiful New York City Midtown apartment office. And with my coworkers, I work with 2 other dietitians and about 10 other people in our office. We seem like we're a really big brand. If you follow us on social media, you think we're this big, huge office. We're not. We're a very small, tight family. And it's been weird. I haven't seen them other than through, Zoom.
Probably.
I was like, what do we use? Zoom. And I'm used to just like popping into another dietitian's office and just talking about another client and, strategizing. And it's very strange, but it also has its benefits of working from home. And I just had a baby a couple of months ago, so I'm able to like see him in between clients and pop in to say hello and be living with my, my whole family is really nice. And my husband, it's really nice for him to be working from home. But the thing that hasn't changed so much is these virtual clients. We actually always offered that. So we always had clients, I was in New York, I had Miami-based clients, California, I had clients in Israel, I had clients in Canada. Yeah. And all of our calls were always done over, we use this platform called Healthy, and there's video chatting through that we would do. And we would just send a scale and send, this folder with their meal plan and their goals in it and highlighted menus and whatever they needed. And we would just send that. And all of our calls would be either over a phone call or video chat. But it's always been a thing. So it wasn't like we went into this working from home lifestyle and being like, shoot, what do we do now?
Yeah.
We definitely had to adjust because I have a huge New York based clientele. And for them, it was weird. They're used to coming into my office and getting on this fancy in-body scale and just having that, interaction is such a difference, it works. And definitely I've had a lot of success with my clients over COVID, which I think is, huge because COVID's a tough time. And I think also it's opens up more clients or more availability to people who didn't realize that they could work with us from, wherever they were. They thought they could only be a client if they were in New York, but it's not true. They could be a client if they're anywhere.
I was going to ask a question and it just left my head.
Sorry.
If someone wanted to get started, what should they do?
So for sure, buy the book. Buy the book, read the book, because if you just follow us on social media, which is my next suggestion, it can be a little confusing, and not just confusing, you can misinterpret what you're watching, because you're only watching, all of us, Tanya, me, the 2 other dietitians, show bits and pieces of their life. We're not, we're not counseling you. We're not showing you exactly what to eat at all hours of the day. So I think you can follow that and be like, okay, I'm just going to eat exactly like how Tanya's eating, or exactly how Samantha's eating. But again, only showing you bits and pieces. So it's hard to do, or it might not be the correct way of eating. So use the social media as like that second thing to get inspiration, to maybe find recipes, to just feel like, okay, look how many people are doing this with me. I got this. But use the book as the education, which is huge. We really believe in education, so that you can then apply it to your life. Right. So buy the book, follow us on social media. We have huge Instagram, huge Facebook page. We started doing lives in our Facebook group, which is a huge group where every once a month there's another dietitian who does a topic. I just did starting your goals for New Year's and following and sticking to your goals.
You do a great job on your social media. You're always putting what you're having for breakfast.
I try. It's been harder with the babies. I'm like forgetting. I took a picture this morning. I haven't been able to post it yet.
And that was what triggered in my head, I think, when we were talking about how has COVID affected your job. I'm going to tell you, being a mom as you are now, we want to be there for our kids so much. But working from home is a blessing and a curse.
Totally a curse sometimes. I'm like happy I'm out of the house right now, because right now he's probably crying in the other room and I would have to be listening to it and being like, what do I do? And then I can just, separate myself and do this.
Exactly. There's a lot. Everyone thinks, oh, it's so easy to work from home. There's so many distractions at home.
So many distractions.
But it gives you flexibility. And thank God that you have that right now, that you can do this flexibility. So that's awesome. The other thing is talking about following you and finding inspiration with what you post. Tanya also, there's a whole community when they use #FFactor, and it's just, there's other groups that do that. It's incredible. It's everywhere. I had no idea until I've been following it, and I'm like, I need to do this. I want to do it. Oh, I know another thing I wanted to tell you is if you reach out to Samantha, she will give you, and you mentioned Miami Community Newspapers, she will give you a free consultation so that you can learn more about the F Factor and see if this is a right fit for you.
Yeah.
But the thing that I have seen over and over is it really is a good fit for most people because it really is, you're not being restrictive. It's making you think about what you're eating more.
Yeah.
I always see also Tanya and you two post when you go out to dinner, how you've incorporated your fuel and your fiber and all this stuff.
Yeah, you're
I'm
following.
Like, I do. I just got to do it.
The fiber,
I got to pull the trigger. Okay, so now I have some fire questions for you.
Yeah, go for it.
Let's plug, since you're now in Miami.
Yeah.
And we're all about supporting local. Do you have a local restaurant that you'd like to give a shout out to? Your favorite local restaurant?
Yeah, for sure I do.
Yeah.
So it's actually a kosher restaurant in Bal Harbor.
Okay.
It's called the Meat Bar.
Yeah.
It's my favorite. It's a small little, I guess a steakhouse, but small, and it's my favorite.
It's in Bal Harbor?
It's in Bal Harbor.
Okay.
And they have really great outdoor seating, and it's so cute and so delicious, and it's like
Meat Bar.
Yeah.
In Bal Harbor. Okay. Costco or Sam's?
Costco.
Yeah. What's your favorite item to buy? Is there like an item that you like swear by at Costco?
So it's so funny because you're asking me these questions and I've been in New York this whole time, so I haven't really been using Costco. So I've been excited about, they have these dried mushrooms at Costco.
Oh, yeah.
And they're totally F Factor approved. They're just dried mushrooms, but they apparently are amazing and taste so good. And they're like seasoned mushrooms, but they're dried. And I feel like I'm just dying to try that. Okay.
Some of my favorite items are the olive oil, their Prosecco, the Kirkland brand Prosecco. I love to buy the feta. Is feta F Factor? I've seen it on her thing.
So cheese is F Factor. I'll give you the whole thing about it. So it's just small portions of a fuller fat cheese. If you're having a low fat cheese, you get to use it a little bit more liberally, but little feta, little Parmesan cheese we always use, like a part skim mozzarella, those are all great. So absolutely. Yeah.
Good.
I'm a big cheese person too.
Do you have a podcast that you listen to?
A podcast that I listen to?
If you don't, you don't.
I definitely do, but I haven't been listening in a while. And I don't even know the name of the one I'm listening to right now, but it's some parenting one, and her name is, it's like I think it's Dr. Becky at Home, but I don't know what her podcast name is, but she's amazing. Yeah. It's not food related, I'm sorry.
No. The last podcast I listened to was actually Megyn Kelly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did. She endorsed the F Factor book, but I did listen to her. She's now got a podcast. Do you have a book on your nightstand?
I do. It's again, like I think it's Who Controls the Universe.
I think I've heard about this book.
Yeah, I'm the worst at names. Her name's Gabriella something.
Okay.
And she is like one of these influencer, but motivational speakers. And it's called, I think, Who You Control the Universe, or Who Controls the Universe.
Yeah, I've seen. I think I know.
Book.
Okay.
I have a few honestly on my nightstand.
Thank you, Tanya, for tuning in and watching. Shout out to Tanya Zuckerbot, who started the F Factor book.
This.
Wait, which camera am I on? This one. Okay, guys. So this is all about F Factor today. It's January. New resolutions, New Year's, trying to get healthy. Follow along, and if you'd like to learn more about F Factor, please get in touch with Samantha. She's on Instagram. That's how I found her. You can also follow F Factor Diet, and there's tons of information there. But we would like to promote you because you're here local, and we wish the best for you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. We'll be back next Monday. Thank you.